This is TWiT. Somebody was pointing out, I think it was in Forbes, they said, it's not like Sony could do this. They don't, only a company with deep pockets could pay $7.5 billion to acquire a game company.
The same price they paid for GitHub, by the way.
Wow.
About the same as Nokia as well. And it's just we measure things in Nokia. We'll just say that Microsoft is acquiring Bethesda for one Nokia.
That's kind of amazing. Mm-hmm. I'm a little more bullish on this, though, than I was on the Nokia purchase. I think this is going to be good, right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think this makes a ton more sense than TikTok.
Yeah.
Just throw that out there.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, I even think it makes more sense than that.
Yeah. This also kind of sends a message about how serious they are about this market, because I think a lot of people, and I've certainly gone down this road in the past, have said that, maybe they should spin off Xbox. This doesn't necessarily make any sense. And then as we move into the cloud era and cloud-based gaming, you kind of see how Microsoft might want to stick with it. But the big dig against Xbox has been game studios, exclusive games, and so forth. And I think, I don't remember the exact numbers, but Sony is somewhere 13 or 14, and Microsoft has 21, 22, something like that. I mean, they have more game studios than Sony does now. So
wow, and
these are some great games.
So Bethesda is, of course, best known. Well, I don't know. I like the Elder Scrolls. That's Skyrim. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of that. They also do Doom.
Yep. They own all the id stuff, right? So it's everything that
all the id stuff. Commander Keen. Nice.
Yeah, going back, Quake, all the Quake games, all the Doom games.
Guys, wait, what about Wolfenstein?
Wolfenstein.
Yeah, Wolfenstein.
The game for beer drinkers. Yeah.
That's the only reason I care about that. The Stein.
Okay. Yeah. The Stein. It's not what you think it is.
Yeah.
It's turned into, it's kind of, it's been rejiggered several times. It's a kind of a modern shooter now, but it's
it was the first game I fell in love with on an Apple II. When they didn't even have a sound chip.
Wolfenstein.
Castle Wolfenstein. They didn't even have a sound chip, so all the Nazis were going.
Right.
But
for me, it was Wolfenstein 3D.
Yeah.
And then it was.
So
then
when
it
this
turned
got
into
announced Monday,
Mein Leben.
Can I just
Mein Leben.
Can I just say, when I saw this announced Monday, I had to wait to write it because I was like, "Who is Bethesda Softworks? Never heard of them."
Right. Oh, and let's not forget Fallout. Another one I
awesome.
love Fallout. Yep. So this is a studio with some real classic titles. The IP they bought alone is probably worth the $7.5 billion.
Yeah, and they're an ongoing concern, right? These aren't games like retro games from the past necessarily. These are new Fallout 76 is what came out last year or whatever. I mean,
yeah, it's good. It's fun.
The new Doom is obviously done really well. It's a big deal. That's good.
What did Microsoft pay for Minecraft? Like half that, right?
2.5
third of that, maybe. Okay,
I thought. So that's not right, Mary Jo?
I'm actually. They actually bought ZeniMax, right, which is the parent company of Bethesda. So to be perfectly accurate, but nobody knows who ZeniMax is. But
$2.5 billion.
Bethesda Softworks either, for that matter. But
Mary Jo.
Yes.
I think some of us do.
I know some people do.
It's a venerated name, actually.
I had never heard of it. I'm not kidding. Like I said to people, I've never heard of it, and they're like, "Come on, you've played Skyrim." I'm like, "No, I haven't."
Skyrim's awesome.
That's a silly thing to say, but
no, I can't see Mary Jo playing Skyrim, but it is a beautiful.
I don't even
game.
know what it is, but okay. Yeah. Anyway, I covered it though because it's an acquisition and it's a big one, right? And I cover Microsoft, so I have to know about it.
Think of the mashups. Somebody's in the chat room saying, "I can't wait for Minecraft Doom."
But now that it's that probably exists. That has to exist, right?
Wolfenstein Minecraft. Yeah.
So the bigger deal, though, is that now, because they're a Microsoft studio, these new games, as they come out, will be made available on Xbox Game Pass day and date, right? So this is really
that's huge to me.
Part of that cloud/subscription push that Microsoft has just started. And I mean, we're getting to the point for a gamer where Xbox Game Pass might be getting into no-brainer territory, Smart.
Chat room's having fun coming up with mashups. Pit Fallout will be fun. Knox Harrington says, in the new Halo, Master Chief will be sidelined by an arrow to the knee. That's something. If Mary Jo doesn't know the name Bethesda, she's definitely not going to get that.
You know what? But I know that reference now because someone used it on me on Twitter. So.
Yeah. It's a classic Skyrim line. So no, I think this is going to be very interesting. And by the way, it makes me cry even more that I wasn't able to get the $35 Microsoft Xbox Series X deal.
Oh yeah, you couldn't get it, huh?
The bots beat me.
We're gonna get to that because I also got beat, and I'm not happy.
Very frustrating.
Really? Wow.
Oh, those bots.
Yeah, this is a failure of Azure scalability if there's ever been one. What a fiasco.
We'll save
was.
that though. Let's because you want to spend some time with it. So
yeah,
sure.
We will talk about that. So what does this tell you about Microsoft's ambitions in gaming and Xbox, and how does this fit in with their other ambitions with the cloud and things like that? I mean,
you know what? Microsoft is in a weird place right now because they are releasing consoles, and those aren't really the primary focus on the future for them, right? And they obviously they want to sell consoles, but hardware is an expensive business to be in. It typically loses money. They're looking for this, the razor blades here in this case. In the back in the day it was games, and now it's game subscription services, to kind of float those customers and make them make sense financially. So what this is doing is stocking up that stable that they have of games that are available via Xbox Game Pass and cloud streaming. And it just makes this entire ecosystem better for gamers. It makes it more of a destination to go to. Sony is doing the same thing they've always done, which, by the way, has worked for sure. I mean, I'm not dumping on that, but they want you to buy an expensive new console, and they want you to buy games, And Microsoft is saying you don't have to buy a console. You can play games almost anywhere. It's only a few places now, but eventually, obviously, anywhere. What we want you to do is subscribe to this service, and you'll be able to play. And depending on the capabilities of the system you're using, you'll have better experiences as you kind of go up the chain. But this stuff works basically everywhere. The Microsoft Studio games certainly do. So I think that's cool. Plus, obviously they're cross-platform already. These guys have PC games that they probably sell through Steam. They have PlayStation games they sell through the PlayStation Store. That's not going to change, right? But if you have it with the subscription and stuff comes out, DLC for a game, a new game, whatever, you're just going to get that. And like I said, it's not quite no-brainer depending on the types of games you want to play. But before this acquisition, there were 167 games, I think it was, and Game Pass is another 50 plus coming from EA Play. And then whatever the stable is of Bethesda games, it's got to be several dozens of games, so it's definitely going to go over 200. It just tells me they're serious about gaming. And I know that's a silly thing to say on the verge of a console launch, but me specifically, but we as a community maybe have been doubting Microsoft's seriousness in this market for years, and they've lost each generation so far with the consoles.
But what is lost only means that they didn't sell as many, right?
Yes, but I suspect it also means they made zero money.
Okay.
Xbox as a business has not been profitable for Microsoft.
Well, that's why I'm wondering why they're spending $7.5 billion for a money-losing business.
Because now gaming is going to the cloud, and all of a sudden there's this wonderful convergence with one of Microsoft's key strengths.
Yep.
They are one of the few companies, although, again, the Xbox Series X buying experience suggests otherwise, but that has the capacity and the infrastructure and the will, right, to do this kind of thing. They're going to do it for other companies. Back when there was an announcement where Sony was partnering with Microsoft to bring some future game service to Azure, my thought was this could be a big chunk of what is the future of the Xbox business. They may not brand it that way, but providing game hosting services for other companies like Activision or EA is on Microsoft now, but there could be other big game publishing studios that want to do this kind of thing as well. Nintendo would be an obvious choice as well, right? The other console maker. They don't have any expertise or capability with regards to cloud computing at all. They can barely release mobile games. So they would be an ideal choice to come to Azure. Or
what's crazy to think about? Remember, just a few years ago, we were all speculating if Microsoft was going to sell off the Xbox division. Do you remember this?
Right. Yeah, of course.
Like everybody was like, they're not really into gaming. Like it doesn't fit with the rest of the company. And now look what's happening, right? It's like 180-degree change.
They make these big bets, right? So people forget that Xbox really started before the original Xbox, before it was called Xbox, because they were working with Sega on the Genesis, the Dreamcast. And there was a Windows CE environment in there, and that was going to be a one way that people could make games, and no one ever did or whatever. But I think that taught Microsoft that they needed to kind of control the environment. And the first Xbox was basically a PC. It was kind of technically successful. It didn't win the market or whatever, but it did well, unit sales wise. The Xbox 360 was the big push. They were going to be like Apple, beautiful white device, super sleek and modern. Huge reliability problems scuttled that. $1 billion plus whatever it was on the warranty cost that they just kind of covered for everybody. I don't remember the numbers anymore, but between 3 Xboxes, I think I got them fixed for the red ring of death 8 times, something like that.
Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Xbox is going back. Yep.
That was a $3 billion write-off, I seem to remember. Something like that.
Huge. Right? Yeah, something huge.
Yeah.
So, and then the Xbox One, I talk about, the starting gun goes off and you fall right in your face. I mean, they blew it from day one, which is too bad because the original Xbox One was kind of a clunker. It's up behind me there. It's a tank, but Xbox One S and then the X especially, those are really elegant devices. They're powerful. Now they're gone, but they got really inexpensive. I mean, and then Microsoft did the whole rejiggering of their strategy, because they had to, but it turned into, I think Xbox has turned into something wonderful for gamers. And it's, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think they're going to do pretty well.
I was torn between the PlayStation 5 and an Xbox, but I think the acquisition of Bethesda.
Wow, really?
Well, I bet I'm not alone either. Because I'm a fan of Fallout and Skyrim. I like the Elder Scrolls.
So that's why the all access thing is so appealing.
Yeah,
so you're $35 a month. You're going to get the console. You own it, right? Obviously, after 2 years, and then you get that whole stable of games.
Yeah,
and for some people, that's going to be like you'll look at that list and say, "Yeah, this is everything I need."
Right. Right.
And that's an amazing value. If you can buy it.
Yeah, because we did if you didn't hear us last week or the week before, we did the math, and the Xbox is actually a little bit less expensive if you you include the bundle cost for the software.
I think it was $40 or $60 less.
Yeah,
like
you're actually saving money. You're not paying an interest anyway on the hardware. So
that's right.
That's a pretty good deal. I mean, I would buy it outright, but actually I'll probably do the pass.
I tried to do both, but I would do either. But
I'll do whatever they'll let me do.
Yeah, but I mean, the other thing that's really interesting about that is obviously I know there's a term for this. Like there's an ad on TV for a car and it's super low price. So you go to the dealership and it's like, oh, that one's already gone. But look, we have these awesome ones over here. Okay. Or you have this notion of like the Apple Watch starts at 99 cents, but you want the one that's $600.
Right.
So the thing that's cool about the Xbox All Access is that it's such an easy justification to make. You're not going from spending $300 to spending $500. You're going from spending $25 a month to $35 a month, right? Like that difference is like one trip to Dunkin' Donuts to keep beating to death. That's the same example I always use, but it's like $10 a month is negligible to anyone who would be in the market for buying one of these consoles. So it makes upgrading to the better one, again, a no-brainer to keep reusing things I always say, but it just makes it an easier thing because when I was thinking about paying for these things outright, I'm like, I'll just get an S,
Yeah.
I play on a 1440p set anyway, who cares?
Right.
But $10 a month, X makes more sense.
Yeah.